Hello, Dad.
What do you say, Mark?
Today's September 11th, 2025. The last time we talked about football and some sports, but you were closing out last week and you were talking about a man who ran into town because his house was burning,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and you described what that sight was like. Um, you told me a long time ago about a plane crash.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that story?
Yeah, I was up towards Truman, Arkansas. Uh, Used to be planes would come around just single engine, double wing, just those that swoop in and out. And for a few dollars, you could go up there and see him flying all over the sky. And and he crashed, and it was off in a distance from the crowd where he took off from. But immediately, whenever he crashed, everybody started running towards where the smoke was coming up. And of course, I was in the bunch that was running over there myself. And whenever we got over there, he had just landed in that field and burned. And whenever people started getting there, they were sitting up there in that plane just like dummies sitting up there. But it's one of the most awful sights of a human being almost burned in front of you. But he is sitting in that plane just like he was getting ready to fly off. Two of them. There was two guys in there. It was just two seaters, what it was. But that affected me for a while, but it didn't affect me very long. But it did, immediately after that happened like that.
Well, when you ran up on the scene of it, could you tell if they were alive, or did they die when the plane crashed, or did they die during the
That
fire?
that was a question at first, but because you couldn't tell whether they were still breathing or what, but they just froze now. Well, they burned in that condition, and they were just sitting up there. Of course, they had their belt on and holds them in place. So that was part of the problem that people were dealing with. I think just seeing them there, and they were strapped in a airplane, burned to death.
You said you paid a few dollars to watch the man kind of do stunts, I guess, or tricks.
Yeah, yeah. You paid a fee, and I don't remember exactly what it was. Was a dollar or 50 cents or whatever it was. But I just remember where the location of it was.
Do you remember the
The,
size of the crowds that would come to something
oh,
like
it
that?
would be a big crowd. Would be a big crowd. Say
Hundreds or
four,
thousands?
400 or 500 people would be crowded pretty good.
Right. Um, I asked you about football, and you said that was the sport you excelled in, and the one you really liked the best.
Yeah,
Um, you played basketball,
right,
baseball,
right,
and you ran track.
right.
Do you remember when you ran track what events you ran?
Well, I would run the 100, the 220, and be in the 440 relays before people running in that. But that was basically what I run in track. That was enough to kind of give you out a little bit if you had to do them all. Most time I'd run in each race that way.
Did they ever put a stopwatch on you in the 100 and tell you how
Oh
fast you could
yeah,
run it? How much could you run 100 yards in?
10-4,
10-4.
10-4.
And back then, what were you wearing as far as shoes to run a 10-4?
I wasn't wearing no regular track shoes, that's for sure. I don't remember. I guess it was just football cleats, is what it was.
Right,
But that's a question. I just don't remember what I was wearing.
right.
But I want to say it was a different shoe, but I don't think we had track shoes back then.
Well, did you remember if you were competitive, or could you keep up with the pack, or
Well, myself and the 100 and Donald Ray Smith, I was talking to you about, he would always, I could outrun him on a takeaway, and then before the 100 would get to the 100-yard line, he'd catch me and you just hear him grunting and humming is what he would do. I guess that gave him a little more energy. I don't know,
yeah?
but it let me know that he was back there for a while. But he would always come up and meet a little bit beyond me. He'd always beat me.
Do you remember what schools that y'all ran track against and had track
Oh,
meets?
well, we were all out 3A conference at that time, and I don't know whether it's still, or the Mark Tree has that rating or what. They may have consolidated schools in there around Mark Tree. Probably what they did do, and I'm not for sure whether it's consolidated now. And
Do you do you remember any of your coaches?
yes,
You recall their names or
yes,
any experiences with them?
I didn't have an experience, but we had a coach named Coach Hartkey. He was from Carlisle, and he was still in the reserve whenever he was in the school, and he was on uh, maneuvers to go in, and like you see these, I don't know what size plane they are, but you see them running all around Arkansas here, just in maneuvers, I guess. But his plane crashed. He was a pilot in that, and I didn't. It was off from me, or I would have went too. Uh, I, but anyway, he crashed, but he was one of my coaches. Uh, he was the assistant coach before he became coach there in Mark Tree, and there was another fella came in there from Leachville, I believe he was from Leachville, football, basketball too. And his dad was a congressman in Arkansas Congress, and I imagine his dad talked to him about how much money he could make being a congressman, and he didn't stay a coach for just a year or two. It didn't take him very long. He wasn't there very long, but he was a good coach. And the reason I bring him up, uh, he was giving us all a pep talk one day, and I was always vocal. Maybe something come up because I was captain of the team, me and another boy. But he came up to me. He was a little shorter than what I was. He said, "Look, if I want you to answer something, I'll slap it out of you." So I kept my mouth shut for a while till he left anyway.
Did he go into politics?
He went into politics.
Do you remember what he did? Was he like a state rep or
I
district
think
or something?
he was just a state representative, what his dad was, and that's what he was.
Oh, okay,
His name was Bearden, Coach Bearden.
right.
And I think I already named the other coach that crashed and burned, Coach Hartkey. But he was a good guy. Uh, he could control me better than what Coach Bearden could. That's the reason I liked him, I guess. And it hurt me whenever he died.
Did the two men that were the coaches, did they coach all the sports, or did they just have one sport they coached?
No, they coached all the sports, just about it.
They were overall the football, basketball,
Yeah.
baseball, and your track.
Uh, I'm not sure who the track coach was. It may have been those two coaches more than likely, because they didn't play just a football coach and a basketball coach. Uh, because I remember when Bearden came in, there was another guy named Lobdell. He was a basketball coach, and that's all he was. And because he was a basketball coach, that's all he did. They finally got rid of him because I'll bring this up as another incident. We were at Paragould, Arkansas, and we went up there to play a basketball game. And Lobdell wanted to freeze the ball after we got ahead a few points. But
What do you mean by freeze? This
freeze
day
it,
and age is a run and gun game.
it was get the ball over the half court and just dribble it around until time almost run out.
Pass to this guy, pass
and I
that back and forth.
Yeah, and I think back then, I think seemed like you could control that ball all the time. It was yours.
No shot clock.
No shot clock. No way. So
So somebody
I
get
know
upset
Coach
for him doing
Lobdell.
that, freezing the ball.
Well, I know we got ahead, I think, and I think Lobdell wanted to freeze the ball since we got I don't know 5 or 6, 8 points ahead or whatever it was, and we had done something, myself and Sonny Worthy and Jim Price. They both were tall men, and he refused to play us starting that game, and he would not play us all during the whole trip up there and the whole trip back. We didn't play nothing, and because we'd got in trouble with him earlier, and he was disciplining us, and we made up our mind whenever we come off the court with the other players. We went to the locker room. We said, if he does not start us, we're not going to play for him no more. And it caused a pretty good size ruckus in the school and with other authorities because the way he played basketball. We was a running gun. Had coach, that's what we knew I'd do, is play basketball. I'd go out there and freeze the ball. But the school authorities heard about it, and they never did talk to me, or as far as I know, they didn't talk to Sonny or Jim Price. Toad Talbert, wasn't Jim Price, it was Toad Talbert. Eudos Talbert is what we called him, Toad. But he was in the three that left. Whenever they all went back out there, we got our stuff and left. Our basketball clothes and put in the bag and headed out. And we were hitchhiking back to the school in Martree. And the Eudos Talbert dad drove a school bus, and he come back after us after he took the main part of the players and the whole school bus full. He came back because he saw us walking down the Truman Highway back to Martree, and he stopped and picked us up, and wasn't much said. We was coming back because his dad was driving the school bus. I think we got a little bit of information out of him, but we didn't know what was taking place until we got to school the next day, and they let Lobdell go. Is what they did because the way didn't nobody like the way he played basketball, and he just come there that year, I believe. And I was in a fracas all the time, seemed like. But I didn't. He always run around like this. You can't. We got to do this. We got to do that.
The hand
Because
gesture, you mean?
I mean, just a hand gesture, and Sonny Worthy.
Can you hold your hand up to your face?
Yeah,
Right about
it
there?
was like this. Only had it out like that. We got to do this. We got to do that. But Sonny Worthy was about half a comedian anyway. He went around like this, imitating him after you
Making fun
left.
of him?
After you left, it
No,
was
he
really,
made fun of her guy.
it was really comical.
What do you, since we got enough time, when you played baseball, do you remember what exactly did you play anywhere in particular, or anywhere they needed you, or where?
No, I played third base.
Oh,
Is what
okay.
I played, and I also pitched at times whenever whenever they needed me.
Right.
Because I wasn't using my arm over there except to warm up, so I was pretty well available. Well, you've seen other people that's out on the field already come in to pitch, and they warm up a little bit. Of course, I threw a few balls up there, I think, but that's about it. But you know, at my age then, at 17 or 18, you didn't need much warming up. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ready to play the game.
yeah.
What about as far as the when you played basketball? Were you a guard or were you a forward or?
I was a guard. Is what it was. Me and myself, Buster Smith. He had a car, and of course, we both had dates then. And I remember his dad was a shoe cobbler there in Mark Tree, but he would go to different places. And I'm trying to get my train of thought back right now, and I lost it, Mark.
You're
I just
fine.
lost it.
You're fine. You were just talking about Buster Smith having a car
Oh, well,
and his
because he
dad
had
being
it,
a shoe cobbler.
because of what he had is what I was thinking about. He had an old Studebaker.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tell the front from the back.
Right. Whether they're
And
coming or going.
and we've dated, Bush and myself and the two girls we was with. We had some good times in that old Studebaker. You didn't care what kind of car you had, as long as you had a date.
Now, was he the man that when he got into real estate or something?
Yeah, Buster did. He lived in
That's what he did
Jacksonville.
his life, didn't he?
Yeah, I lived in Cabot, and he lived in Jacksonville, and we got to see each other every now and then when I'd stop down there, because I knew where his real estate office was right there on the interstate, and it was it was a hard pill to swallow, but he died about 3 or 4 years ago, something like that.
Right.
And he just never did. Well, he was a good boy, and I didn't even know he had died until I read it in the paper.
Right.
But we had other experiences like that, and I just remember that old Studebaker that we used to date in, and I couldn't double date my dad's old pickup truck.
Yeah.
You just couldn't hardly do it.
Couldn't get 4 people in the front.
No.
That's a whole family that you crammed in there on top of each other, huh?
Well, I know when we were going to school from our home, you know, we'd get in that 51 Ford. We'd just get stacked in there. My dad would be driving, and Lonnie would get in there, and then I'd get in there. And then Franklin and Mary Lou and Dorothy got in on top of us, what they did.
Right.
And here we went.
Off to your next adventure with
I,
the family.
I was off to school. That's where we went to school.
Right.
At times, though, we just could not get up and do what, especially in the springtime, because I may have already said this, but I'll say it again, because I've had a trot line to run. Okay, there's no use me saying it again. But I had to fish a little bit before I went to school.
Well, you fished for pleasure, but you also were pretty much majority of the reason you fished was for the money
That's right. That's
and
right.
supplying the family with income.
That's right.
Everybody had to pull their weight.
Well, my dad, even with, he was not a commercial fisherman because he was working for the Corps of Engineers, but he had some snag lines that he would run every now and then and get some large 40 or 50 pound catfish. And I mean, that was some big fish.
Right. Well, we're going to stop there and do it again next week. And until then, see you later.
Okay, take care.